So I want to welcome you, Elizabeth. Thank you for taking your time. I know you have a lot of things to do, but you made time to join us. Thank you so much. So I'll let you introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you. My co-host is going to be joining in a while. Something came up, but I hope Aliyu is going to be joining us soon also.
So, well, thank you very much for having me, Dr. Connect, and yeah, Talk to Connect, and Fatma, and I think the co-host as well when he joins. My name is Elizabeth Owode. I'm the founder of My Ocean Coaching. I've been coaching relationship-wise probably for about 10 years now, but I've just literally gone into it like in the past 3 years, like almost full-time, not completely, but almost full-time, I would say. But so it's just, I'm also the author of Together for Better, a marriage book, just to talk about relationship, just practical insights, and just busting some of the myths that are out there about relationship and marriage as a whole. So, well, I'm happy to be here. So let's go.
Thank you so much. So when we talk about the topic of relationship, I think it's a big spectrum, and it's a lot it's a big thing that a lot of people are confused. So one thing I hear people asking, and they want to know, is how do you make your relationship, especially people who have been married for, let's say, 10, 15 years, go like, how do you make your relationship work? How do you make this relationship, become or stay the way it was? Because I feel somehow when people are married, it reaches a point where they become like, they lose the touch and the marriage doesn't really make sense, and they start feeling like they're losing themselves. It's not, you're not yourself, you're giving too much, and there's a lot of conflict. So I'm asking this question because a lot of people have asked me, how do I make my relationship work after 15 years? And I go like, okay, now this is a topic that I need to bring someone who's an expert to explain to people. So how would you help people who are in a marriage for 20, 15 years and they're struggling and they're finding their relationship is not as good as it was, and they don't know how to bring that spark back?
Okay, thank you very much. That is a very interesting question, because I do get that is a common question, just like you said. It's, yeah. I think the main thing is where it's just assessing that relationship. I think a lot of people, like you said, if you're to, let's just say 15 years, the number of years that you've used. So you've been married for about 15 years and you've been parenting. So life gets busy. Before you know it, by the time you look at the time, the day I've started is finished. And then it's 1 week, then it's 2 weeks, and then a month is gone. And then the whole year, like, wait, what's happened? In that year, there's different things going on externally in that particular year. You have the children, you have social media, yeah, just everything. And we're just juggling all of it. And so the key is to go back to basics. And that is something I always tell my clients, go back to basics. What are those basics? Where you were, reevaluate your relationship, reevaluate your marriage. Where are we? What have we been doing? Where are we going? When you started that relation, when you got married, you had a goal. So there's a particular framework that I actually use with my clients, and it's pure, which is, what is the purpose of this relationship? Do we have a common understanding, a mutual understanding of where we want to go in this relationship? What is our goal? And from there, you then have all the other elements, which is, how do we respond to the ever-changing environment? And the way we are when we first got married is not the same thing or the same way we are 5 years into the marriage or even 10 years. By the time you have one child, you need things have changed. The dynamics of your home, just the home now, is changed. By the time you have 2 children, things that you need to bring on board is also different. Just on and on like that. You then have the external factors, you have the in-laws, you have social media, you have technology, you have the gadgets now. Like some couple, they're both at home, spending that time together, having dinner, but they're both on their phones. So just how do we engage? How do we respond to the ever-changing and the evolving environment that we have? And when you then talk about evolving, how do we communicate? How do we relate to each other? So that is something that every marriage should constantly look at and continue to reevaluate where we are, what our goals, what do we aim to achieve this year. Deliberate. I think the key word is deliberate effort. Otherwise, day in, day out, you will just keep doing life without actually being having that, putting that time and that effort, and is by no means easy, because by the time you say you've got like 15 years of marriage, you probably have, depending on the number of kids that you want or number of children that you have, in 15 years marriage, they take a lot of time, but you need to have deliberate effort, make deliberate effort, have the deliberate consciousness within your mind that we need to do something together. We need to communicate. We need to do this. And so just all of that together is deliberate. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think that's really powerful. And you said something very important. I think a lot of people get married without even having a goal. I think marriage is a duty, and you just go into marriage because I'm a woman and I'm of age and I need to get married. And you don't even sit down and go like, what is the end goal for this?
Yeah.
Where do I want to see this marriage go? And I think at some point everybody has their own life and ambition, and then it doesn't work because you feel like you're giving in to something that you didn't plan for. I think that is very good, that we need to have a goal for that marriage, and to be deliberate. Communication. I heard that you said a lot of people don't have communication, and I think the best part of relationship is communication. So you said something else, and I think this plays a big part in most relationship, where society, and when I talk about society expectation of what a wife should be and what a husband should be. And my question is, how do people break from this chain of society of expectation of you marry a woman and she's supposed to be like this and this and this and this, or this is the kind of woman we expect you to have, like it has like a script of what a perfect wife should look like or should behave. So how do we help people? Because for me, I feel when you go in a relationship, it's totally now you understanding your partner and building your life, the two of you. But I don't think a lot of people, especially us from Africa, don't get that opportunity. Society is in the middle of everything. So what can you advise people to break the chain of society and get to be themselves and build their marriages the way they feel fits them?
Okay, thank you. I think it goes back to that same framework, as in when you come together and knowing is she the right one, what she should do, there is the fundamental and you mentioned Africa, so I will relate it to that and then come back generally on the basis that the culture dictates a lot, and your environment. And there's actually a study that says 70% of our behavior is from our environment, is influenced by our environment. So culture, so while back in the day and even till now, you would hear, oh, a woman must know how to cook, okay? And the man should then be the one fending for the household. So you have that expectation, but the author of marriage is God. So by the time you now start putting cultures into, we need to go back to basics, which is, what is my responsibility? You need to come together as one. It needs to be a mutual understanding of what I want, what you want, our expectation. You need to have an agreement on what is it that you want. Don't use a template. And I hope this is this is actually quite key on the fact that depending on where the couples are from, you hear a lot of, she's expected to do this. He's expected to do that. There's an expectation. And this is some of the things that you have not actually discussed your expectation before you enter that relationship. You haven't discussed, this is my expectation. This is what I expect. Oh, no, I don't agree with that. You meet each other, you understand what each other is expecting. You understand where we're going, where we're coming from, where we want to go. So by the time you're thinking of the woman should know how to cook, okay, in this day and age, some men know how to cook more than some women. They can cook far better. But if all the woman knows is, I know how to cook, why isn't my relationship working? She's missed it. Or the husband is thinking, I'm constantly working to make sure that all the bills are paid for. Why isn't my marriage working? He's missed it. Because there is more to a relationship and a marriage than the wife knowing how to cook and clean, and the husband just constantly never at home because it's constantly pursuing money in order to make sure that his family is okay. Some women work more than men. In this day and age, some women, even if you don't go out of your house, technology, for the fact that you can be at home and work from home. You can work from home. You can do so many things. You have like social media influencers, YouTube bloggers, and they're making money from it and they're home. So it's just the ability to learn and unlearn what is working. So the key thing is the unity of that couple. And there is no, this is the right way and this is the wrong way. Everyone is different, which is why the couple needs to come together as a joint body, like, this is what we want in our home. This is how we want our relationship to be. This is how we want it to go. Otherwise, they will use templates. And a lot of the templates will come from, this is what I saw with my dad. This is how my mom was, or my mom was like this, so that is what I want my wife to be. And while that can be very destructive, it can also be good. And I'll give you an example. I had a client where the mom was very bold. Like, we came to a conversation where his mom was quite bold and the dad was quite quiet. When he got older, he resented that and he became very bossy. Like, I am the man of this house. Things must be done this way or the highway. My way or the highway. Doesn't listen to his partner. When we did, and the partners that I just don't understand. When we dig down, he then realized it wasn't actually his partner, but what he actually saw his parents doing, and he resented that he thought the dad was too quiet and the mom just needs to mellow down a little bit, or the dad just need to speak up more and not let the mom do that. And he loves his mom to bits. His mom is like his idol, but it just didn't really want his own home to be like that. But instead of dealing with it and knowing why he's doing what he's doing, a lot of people do things and they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So go back to basics, learn. Don't just think, I'm an adult. I've seen my parents do it. I've seen how the culture say women should do this, men should do this. Learn before we get any form of qualification, we learn, we study for it.
Mm-hmm.
In marriage, people get married and stay there. And then wonder why it's not working. People don't go coaching, they don't go counseling to learn more about this institute of marriage. It's quite a dynamic institute, and people just need to come out of their comfort zone. This is how it's always been. This is where it will continue to be. Understand, just keep working at it. It's a building. Rome wasn't built in a day, and your marriage is a building. When a house is done, you don't just enter that house and stay there for 5 years and 10 years without doing any form of structure, painting, repainting, decorating that house. The same thing goes for your marriage. You must always know that. You can't just enter it and stay there like that, sleep and wake up and continue. Same goes with our body. We're alive today because we eat, drink, and we have to rejuvenate. We have to rest. We have to feed the body. We have to just do different things to our body. The same thing goes to our marriage. We can't just enter a relationship and just say, yeah, let's go. It's quite dynamic, and we have to unlearn, relearn, understand your spouse, and just continue like that. So yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I think that's a lot of insights that we've got in there. And I think what you've said, most of the things people are missing, especially in the part of rejuvenating the relationship and trying to build it and make it new. Because as you said, we are in the comfort zone and the expectation of just the things will happen without putting an effort to try and change the relationship. That's very powerful. So I have this question, because when I talk about it, it's kind of a bit, people feel like I'm choosing sides, but it's actually, there's a lot of this word feminism, and feminism it's gone to another level where I feel us as women, we tend to forget what is our purpose as women in terms of who I am as a woman. So in your experience as a life coach, and I'm asking this because I see a lot of this feminism thing has cost people some things, and they haven't realized that somehow to be a woman, you need to understand yourself first and understand what kind of woman you want to be before you force it into other people. And it kind of loses the balance of why feminism was started in the beginning. So how much would you say that this has affecting the relationship in our society at this age, at this time?
Okay, thank you for that. Now, just like you said, feminism was started and was initiated in order to defend, to uphold a woman's rights, making sure that a woman is not marginalized in any way for reproduction, and access to life, access to existence, access to quality education, to not just being left behind while their male counterpart is moving forward. That was why it was started. Now, in upholding feminism, which is quite good, you need to also realize that your male counterpart is not ignored. So upholding feminism in your relationship and in your marriage is good. However, you need to be able to listen and understand the issues that your male spouse is bringing forward. And when I mentioned listening, is not just the talking, you're listening, but with already, you already have some form of preempt. You're preempting what they're saying or interpreting what they're saying without actually understanding what they're saying. So the key thing is, whilst it's good to uphold feminism in your marriage and your relationship, don't ignore the issues being raised by your male spouse. Listen and understand. What are they saying? What are the issues that they're bringing? Understand that those issues, because while you're upholding your right as a woman so that you're not being left behind, you also need to realize that you're not a tree. A tree does not make a forest. You're not alone in your relationship. Your relationship, for you to say, I'm in a relationship, is not just you. You're in that relationship with someone else. So that's male partner's views, their issues, their concerns that they may have is important as well in order to make your relationship work. So you need to listen to their opinion, be attentive to the concerns that they might have. Whatever the concern is, just listen. And is one of the five, so just like Stephen Covey said in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I think it's the 5th habit, which is seek to understand first before being understood.
Mm-hmm.
So seek to understand your male spouse first, and then express your own opinion, express your own concern, but understand where they're coming from first. And I think it's really important. So you're upholding your feminism. I'm a feminist, and it's really important that I uphold my rights. And yes, that's good. However, listen to your male counterpart. Listen, genuinely listen to what they're saying. And when you're listening, listening is actually something that a lot of people actually need to learn as well. And that's something also I teach to my client, which is a lot of the time people think they're listening, but they're not, because they might not be saying anything, but their mind is thinking, what is going to be my response to what that person is saying? Our brain does not. Our brain really do not. And I'm going to say that for the third time. Our brain doesn't multitask. It literally switches off from one to the other. When you're thinking, you're not listening. The moment you're thinking, what am I going to say? What am I going to respond with? You're not listening anymore. You can't say, this is exactly what they've said, because your brain have just literally just done the switch now to your thoughts. So you're not listening anymore. So it's key that you're listening to everything that they're saying, how they're saying it. So yeah. So it's just all upholding that. Listen to your male counterpart without,
Thank you so much. That is very powerful. I think just for the fact of people to understand the power of listening. One of my mentors said, when you're talking to people, you don't listen to agree or disagree. You listen to get the insight of what they're saying.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the power of it. When you get to listen and understand what someone is saying, then you are in a position to make a better decision and act in a very a better way than just wanting to correct or to disagree with someone. That's very powerful. So still, I want to ask this, because I know when we say about women, it's not women, it's both women and men in a relationship. There is this part of everybody has their responsibility. And the end of the day, you're a mother and he's a father. And there's a kind of responsibilities that are being defined by nature, not by people. By nature, you're a mother. You are nurturing and you're loving and you're caring. And so kind of, I feel there's a lot of, some of relationship just break because people tend to forget their responsibilities. You're forgetting your responsibility as a wife in opposed to wanting to have, as we say again, the equality. So what would you advise? I think the equality is, it's right to have an equality, but it's also right for you to understand your position in the relationship and what is required of you as a mother or as a father. So what advice would you give to to people in terms of this, because I think people actually tend to have a lot of problems with this, is the responsibility of what is your responsibility as a man and what's your responsibility as a woman, and how do we put it on the table so that I don't feel like I'm oppressed, or I don't feel like I'm being used.
Okay. Thank you. So thank you very much for that question. Now, when it comes to nature and nurture and my responsibility, your responsibility, we need to define that right from the beginning. Now, whilst nature, as a woman, the man can't give birth. We're going to be the one to give birth and to nurture those children. However, I think the society have looked at it as is just the responsibility of the woman to take care of the kids. That's not supposed to be. That is not in any way, in any religion, correct. Because that child, God gave you both that child. If we're using children as an example, God had given you both those children. So while as a mother might be nursing the child, like breastfeeding them, and the man can't do that, that child needs to know that I have my father and my mother caring for me, taking care of me, cleaning after me, and understanding that. Because you need to remember that that same child will go up and then have their own children and have their own spouse and go into their own relationship and be able to then, so let me backtrack a little bit. One of the fundamentals of a relationship, of a marriage, is legacy. Your marriage relationship and how you make it good or toxic will outlive you. When you're long gone, how you've made that environment, how dad behaves, how mom behaves, that child will take it on, go into a relationship, pass it on to their own children will take it and pass it to their own. So basically already looking at 3, 4, 5, 6 generations, looking at the same thing, just keep going. So which is why that relationship, it's key for both of you to have an understanding of where we're going, where we want to be. I'll give you an example. I met an elderly man. I think they just did their 50 years wedding anniversary. And I was just having a conversation with him. And he said, when they left uni, he met his wife in uni. And he said, when they left uni, they had an agreement that they're going to get married. And by the time they start working, whoever out of them was able to make more money, to have the highest earning income of both of them, that will be the spouse that will stay home and look after the children. So it's not about the man or about the woman who is going to be making most money, because they agreed as a couple to homeschool their children. That was their agreement as a couple. Our children will want to homeschool them. And in order to do that, that means only one of us will be working at a particular time till those kids get to a certain age. So they had an agreement that whoever has the highest paying job will continue working. And the one with the lower income will stay home and look after the kids. That was their agreement. Now, if we're to take it to culture will tell you the woman must stay at home and the man must go the one doing to fend for the home. Now, bringing it into the 21st century, technology has changed things. So whilst the man won't be the one to get pregnant, because obviously when you're pregnant and then early days of giving birth, you need to stay home. during maternity to look after those kids, to look after the children. The man can continue working. But even after that, you can then still work from home. So all those dynamics has changed. So while we have nature, something that's, you can't change that. It's completely, there's no way you can change it. It's also on the basis of, where are we in our relationship? What is our goal? What do we want from our home? And when you say a marital goal, it's not just we want to have this is what we wear, this is where we want to go. I love you, and this. Children, how many children? How are we going to raise them? Do we want to homeschool them, like this example I've just given you? Do we want to homeschool them? Do we want them to go out? Do we want to take them to nursery? And you break those things down, like literally to the nitty-gritty, so that you know where you're going. And it has a big impact on how you view the all of your marriage. Then evolves and it goes around those things. So it's key. So yes, that is my take on that.
Thank you so much. I think that's very powerful. And when people will understand, again, we come back to the goal. What is the purpose of you being in this relationship? Because if it doesn't have a goal and it doesn't have a purpose of you being in that relationship, then it doesn't grow. I think a lot of people miss that. Most of us go to a relationship because it's expected of us again. So I think you have insisted so much of making a goal on your relationship. Where do you want to see your relationship going, and how are you going to build it so that you can achieve and make a relationship that is working? So going back to this, so how do you know that this is the right partner for me? Because I think that's where we begin all of this. If you don't have the right partner on this journey, then you don't have a marriage. So how do we start there now? So we go back to the first question. How do I know the right partner?
Story of my life. I think everybody wants to know that. And even some married couple, you hear, I don't think it's the right one for me. I think I got it wrong. It's really important that you have a mutual understanding of who you are. Start with yourself. Who are you? Who am I? Do I know myself? Do I know what I like, what I dislike, what gets me angry, what makes me happy, my love language, all those different things? Know yourself first. Because when you know yourself, then you're then able to know, okay, who would then complement me? Not who is going to make you whole. If you're not whole before you get into a relationship, that's just, should I say, that relationship is already marked to go downhill. No, don't look for somebody to make you complete. You should be complete before you enter a relationship. Be complete in yourself. So know yourself. And then when you now enter into a relationship, is this person right? What are your core values? The fundamental core values. I mentioned something earlier that 70% of what we are and our behavior is our environment. That will shape a lot of things. Now, whilst the environment will keep changing, your partner will change. You yourself will change. However, core values, what makes you because your core values will determine how you talk, how you relate to people, how you interact with people, how you show empathy, how you communicate, how you associate yourself with other people. Those fundamental core values, they rarely change. And those are the things that you need to look for in your partner to know, okay, our core values, we share the same core values. If that is missing, then what are you looking for? But you need to know your own self first, your core values, what holds you, what makes you tick, if I can use that word. in order for you to then, you then be able to recognize it in someone else. Because, but if you don't know yourself, you don't know you, then you don't know what you're looking for in that person. You don't know how to recognize those things. So start with you, start with yourself, know your core value, know your fundamental things that makes you tick, that makes you you, your uniqueness. You're unique as an individual, your uniqueness. Know all those things about yourself. Is then that once you recognize that about yourself, you'll then be able to recognize it in other people. Like, okay, this, and also there's also a study, Omiphilis. Now, it's, we tend to be more attracted and drawn to people that look like us, whether that is religion, whether that is faith, whether that is using language, same culture, same area, same country, same university, same level of education, like we both studied business management or things like that. We tend to be drawn to those people. Whilst that is good, oh, I like XYZ, this person too likes XYZ, so we both like that. And there is a study that supports that, which is good. However, that would not sustain your marriage relationship. It would not sustain it. Whilst it's good at the beginning, like, oh, we both share the same thing, we both like that. Long run is the core values that will keep you together. Is your core values that you share, those common core values that will hold your relationship and your marriage in the long run. Because while you can both have the same culture or even the same, you both studied the same thing, you've then realized down the line that actually this person, if you're not someone that smokes or drinks, you then realize this person smokes and drinks. Okay, that for me, it's almost like a deal breaker. It's one of my core values not to associate with someone like that. And it's something that I can't. So whilst you have the same culture, which is good, tick, you speak the same language, yay, good. You have the same background where you've studied, both studied and business management, yay. You don't have your core values like, oh wait, religion. No, they don't believe in your particular religion, and their own religion is even like the extreme of yours, because faith is something that is actually, a lot of people use faith as the fundamental of, is this person right for me? We have the same faith, okay? Maybe we'll go to the same church or we'll go to the same mosques together, okay? But the principle that is being taught in the Bible or in the Quran, do they have it? Do they have it in their behavior? Or is it just, we're in church together? Oh, I see them in the mosque together. We're in mosque together. We're both Muslim. But those fundamental principles in the Quran and in the Bible, do they exhibit it in their behavior? It's only when you begin to draw closer to them. But it's only when you know it within yourself. If you don't know what's in the Quran, what's in the Bible, what your own particular religion, what it says that you should be doing, then you won't be able to recognize it in someone else. Mm-hmm. So it's good for you to start with you, know what makes you you, your uniqueness, your fundamental basis of your existence, your core values. Once you know that, then you'll be able to recognize in someone else. And that is how you'll be able to say, okay, this person is right for me and this person isn't. There's no right or wrong or black and white about it. It's just what makes you you. What are your own fundamental values? What are your core values? Holding on to that, know yourself, and then you'll be able to see it in other people. So, yeah.
Well, that's really powerful. Thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of people miss that point of knowing yourself first before you go and get a partner. And the fact of you knowing yourself, I think it brings you to the part of being authentic you're going to be authentic with whoever you are, embracing yourself with who you are. So you don't settle for something or for someone or for anything that is going to make you not feel happy, or you are in doubt. So when you're authentic, and this is the most powerful thing, and I think a lot of people try to cover up this authenticity with other things. You know, you don't want to show the real you or your values or whatever you value. So an example of, I am an ambitious woman and I like to work, and this is what drives me. I think it's a right, if you're meeting a partner, to let that people know that you're ambitious and you like working, because then you are showing your true self, and letting the other person decide, is this the right person for me to go in this relationship on or not? So that's really powerful. Thank you for sharing that. So one last question, which is just going to be a general question. What advice would you give to people who are starting a relationship, people who are in a relationship? What advice or would you give them right now that can help them work on their relationship to make it better, or to rebuild it if it's falling apart?
Okay, thank you. So if going into a relationship, so I'll break it into different parts. So if going into a relationship, I think it's everything that we've been talking about since, really, and just the purpose of that relationship, knowing yourself. Start with you. Don't look for someone to complete you. Be complete in yourself before you start looking for someone else. And a lot of those myths of your partner should make you happy. Be happy within yourself. Make yourself happy. Your partner's job is to complement you, not to make you complete. Complement. And it is your role to complement your partner and not to complete your partner. You come together as one. You're both complete within yourself. Otherwise, you then have the situation of feeling insecure, feeling a bit of jealousy, just not feeling comfortable within yourself. If you feel, oh, they're not completing me, they're not making me happy, you're putting too much responsibility on your spouse. Be happy in yourself. Work on yourself. Go coaching, please do. Go counseling. It's really important. Know yourself. A lot of background baggage are being brought into the marriage relationship. Mm-hmm. A lot of background baggage. They carry it all along. They take it and they enter that, and they now want the spouse to now start sorting it out for them. Individually, sort it out before you enter that institute. So those are for people going into relationship and into marriage. For people already in marriage, it's keep working on yourself. Again, don't take each other. Your marriage is fine. Keep working on yourself. Be consistent. Make deliberate effort, conscious effort about everything that you're going to do. Don't just allow life to just take over. And even your children, don't allow your children to come and supersede the relationship that you have with your spouse. I'll tell my clients always, if you're not in that relationship with your spouse, those children won't come. It's your union that brought those kids. Don't have them above your partner. And I say this to mothers all the time, the female clients. Your children are a blessing. However, God gave you your spouse first, and then the children came. So don't neglect your spouse for your children. It can be difficult. It's not like it's easy. However, prioritize it. Prioritize your spouse. Otherwise, you would focus on the children and then you're left with a stranger, because these children, they will grow. they will go out. Before you know it, a week, a day, a year, 2 years, distance, you start distancing away slowly from your spouse without you even knowing. You're talking, hello, how was your day? Yeah, good, food, eat, go to bed. Day 1, day 2, month 1, a year. These kids will grow up. They will go to uni. They will start living. They will have their own spouse. And then you turn umbrella, and then you realize, what do you still know about your spouse? So keep that flame burning. Now, for people where their relationship is going downhill, for every relationship, reassess it, reevaluate your relationship. And it's like if someone is drowning, a drowning person doesn't need a swimming lesson at that point in time. They need a floater to save their life. You can now teach them, because swimming is one of the life skills that we should have. While someone is drowning, you don't, so you do your hand like this? No, they don't need a swimming lesson. They need to be saved right then. Seek help, quick. That would be my advice, seek help. So whilst religion is there to focus on your faith and to hold on to your faith for your marriage and your spouse, seek help, seek professional help. Because some people actually leave issues in their marriage to fester for so long, to the brink of divorce or separation or ailment in their body. They're depressed, they're lonely. Some women cry themselves to bed because of their marriage, but they don't seek help. Seek help early. Don't leave things to chances. And even when your marriage is working, seek help to know more. Know more. There's also this notion out there that if you go marriage coaching or counseling or couples counseling or therapy, is because your marriage or your relationship, if it is in disarray. No. We have to learn. Continue to learn, continue to unlearn. Social media wasn't around 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's now around. How is that affecting your relationship? What are those changing? The environment, the world is now like a global market. So how are you changing with those things that are changing in the environment? How are you engaging in your marriage with it? The technology, the mobile phone, even children these days, like a 1-year-old knows how to swap a phone. I was 18 when I got my first phone. I was 18 years old when I got my first one. And I was one of the first. I was like, I remember it's one of those when you pull the area and you have to stand this way, make sure I'm close to the window so that I can get better reception. Yeah. And now a 5-year-old, say under 10, they have their own mobile phone to it. So there's different challenges constantly. A day-to-day challenges are constantly happening. So keep working on your marriage, keep working at it, learn, seek help, seek professional help. Don't take anything for granted. Don't take your spouse for granted. And know yourself, keep learning, keep knowing, keep understanding yourself. Don't just assume things. Keep learning, keep learning, keep learning, keep learning and understanding. Keep learning about your spouse. The person that you married 5 years ago is not the same person now. The environment has changed. They've gone to work. The society is changing. There's in-laws, there's technology, there's social media. Things are constantly being thrown at us, badging and seeking for their attention. Don't ignore that. So that would be my advice for all the various categories of people.
Wow, thank you so much. I think that's a lot that we've learned today, a lot of insights. So if you're in a relationship, I think there's a lot of insights. Just know yourself, keep on working on your relationship, don't take things for granted, and seek help. I think these are very powerful things that you've shared with us today, Elizabeth. And I want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an honor. I think this topic is broad. There is more
Yes.
at the beginning. So I hope we'll have you another time. And please, if you don't mind, you can share your book on my share your link for your book where people can find your book, so I can share it with people. I think it's a book that people should read, and it will help other people to work on their relationship. I want to thank you so much, and anyone who has joined us today, I want to thank you for taking your time. I hope this has been an amazing talk, because I've learned a lot myself. And always we are having these talks and to inspire, to let someone learn, to allow you to rebuild, to change, and find your own way to grow. So I want to thank you so much. Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you everybody for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.